This is Sports Vogue, the football stories people are actually searching for. Here is one nobody saw coming. Argentina did not just lose the 2026 World Cup final. They turned into the most hated team in the sport, and the ugly part took about 20 minutes. Let's set the football scene first, because it is genuinely remarkable on its own. Spain and Argentina went goalless into extra time, and Argentina somehow did not manage a single shot until the 115th minute. Not the 15th. The 115th. That is a World Cup final record for doing precisely nothing going forward, in a match that had looked destined for penalties right up until the sending off finally broke the deadlock. By full time, Spain had put together 20 shots, 12 of them on target. Argentina finished with 2 shots all game. Neither one troubled the goalkeeper. Then it got worse. Enzo Fernandez, one of Argentina's best players, picked up a yellow card in the 82nd minute for mouthing off at the referee. 11 minutes later, he flew into a tackle, sent a Spanish defender flipping through the air and picked up a second yellow. Off he went. Argentina played the rest of extra time with 10 men, chasing a game they could not even get near. 6 minutes after that, Spain scored. 1-0. Spain, world champions. Argentina down a man with 2 shots to their name, about to walk off with nothing to show for 120 minutes of football. That is the version most fans saw live, and it is embarrassing enough on its own. But the football was not even the part that made people angry. What happened after the final whistle is the reason this match is still being talked about, and why a lot of neutrals stopped feeling sorry for Argentina and started actively wanting them to lose. Here is the part that turned a bad defeat into a genuine scandal. Straight after the final whistle, Spain's players formed a guard of honor for Argentina. They lined up and applauded the losing side as they collected their runners-up medals, a proper gesture of respect between 2 great football nations. Argentina did not return it. As Spain lined up to collect their gold medals and lift the World Cup trophy, several Argentina players turned away from the podium and faced their own supporters instead, standing with their backs to the moment Spain had earned. It was not subtle, and cameras caught every second of it. Think about how that reads to a neutral watching at home. One team loses and still manages a gracious round of applause for the winners. The other team loses and cannot even watch the trophy get lifted. That contrast is what really did the damage to Argentina's reputation that night, more than the scoreline ever could. There was one clear exception, and it matters. Lionel Messi, playing what was reported to be his final World Cup, walked the full length of the Spanish team and shook hands with every single player. Win or lose, he did the bit his teammates could not manage. It is worth remembering that detail, because everything that happened next makes it look even better by comparison, and everything that happened next was about to get a lot worse than a snubbed podium. Within minutes, it was the backs-turned photo, not the trophy lift, being shared everywhere. Seconds after that awkward ceremony, it turned physical. As Spain's substitutes rushed onto the pitch to celebrate, Argentina's Leandro Paredes grabbed Spain defender Eric Garcia by the throat. Moments later, he threw Spain's teenage midfielder Gavi to the ground. Teammate Nahuel Molina and Argentina's assistant coach Roberto Ayala, himself a former Argentina international defender, were pulled into the scuffle too. For a few chaotic minutes, the World Cup final ended not with a trophy lift, but with a full-on brawl on the pitch. FIFA did not let it go. World football's governing body opened disciplinary cases against all 3. Paredes alone faces 3 separate counts of assault. Molina faces 2. Ayala faces 1. On top of that, the Argentine Football Association itself is facing charges for discriminatory chants and gestures from the stands, for a political banner referencing the disputed Falklands Islands, for objects thrown by spectators, and for repeatedly delaying kickoffs across the tournament. Read that list back. This is not one player losing his head for 5 seconds. This is assault charges against 3 separate members of the same coaching staff and squad, plus a separate case against the federation itself, all from a single football match. Whatever punishment eventually lands, suspensions, bans, fines, the damage to how Argentina is seen was already done the moment the first punch was thrown, live, in front of the entire watching world. The people who watch football for a living were not kind. One well-known pundit called Argentina's display, both the football and the behaviour afterwards, a complete and utter disgrace. Another said their performance was an utter shambles, no better description for it. A former England goalkeeper called the scenes after the whistle disgusting, full stop. When pundits who usually argue about everything all land on the same word, disgrace, that tells you something. And here is the bit that should worry Argentina the most. This was not a one-off bad night. Rewind 4 years, and Argentina had just beaten the Netherlands on penalties, and their players were still celebrating in Dutch faces long after the final kick, cupping their ears at devastated opponents. Their own captain told the Dutch striker to keep moving, unprompted, after the final whistle. Same script, different World Cup, except that time they had actually won. So line it up, win big, taunt the losers. Lose badly, snub the winners, and throw punches. Either result, somebody ends up disrespected on the pitch, and it is never Argentina doing the respecting. That is not bad luck twice. That is a pattern, and patterns are what actually earn a reputation. My honest opinion, Argentina did not become the most hated team in football because they lost a final. Plenty of teams lose finals and get sympathy. They earned it because win or lose, across 2 straight World Cups, their instinct in the biggest moments has been to disrespect the opponent standing right in front of them. Lionel Messi shook every hand that night. His teammates could not manage that once in 8 years. That is the real story of Argentina's World Cup, proof that one great player standing alone cannot carry a whole team's reputation. If you like football stories told straight, subscribe to Sports Vogue so the next one finds you, and share this with a mate who will want to argue about it. Tell us in the comments who was really in the wrong. See you at the next one.